For booktubers, it's the most wonderful time. I cannot get that low, whatever. What is up, guys? It's me, TBR here. Welcome back to another video, and today, I'm gonna proudly show off my BookTubeAthon TBR. And why I said proudly is because at first, I thought I was not gonna do BookTubeAthon. The week before, I am jam-packed with a camp, so I didn't think I was able to do it this year, but then I realized that it's the week after I get back, so I am excited. So I'm happy to say that I am going to be participating for the second year in a row for BookTubeAthon. And if you guys don't know what BookTubeAthon, it's pretty much the BookTube event of the year, where everybody just gets together and read for an entire week. And the goal for the reading, which is what we're going to be talking about today, is that we have to read 7 books. And the 7 books that I chose are very ambitious. I'm not even going to be I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm doing these just to get them off my TBR, so my TBR may shift throughout the course of the week, but these are the ones I'm going to try to I'm going to give a shot at least. And I can see myself liking a good majority of them. It's just about 2 of them I'm kind of iffy on, but I just needed to get them off my TBR, so this is a very ambitious TBR, like I just said. So, and there's challenges that goes along with this. It's a blast. It's the greatest time for a reader. So, with that out of the way, let's get into this. Alright, so what Ariel Bissett did for the 2017 Reading Challenges video is that she set up challenges for each of the 7 books we have to read. And I am not going to follow every one of them. I actually have a couple where I've just varied off. If not, actually I think I may just have one, but anyway, the first challenge is read a book with a person on the cover. And the choice that I looked through my bookshelves and chose and actually narrowed it down to quite a few, and then I realized that this is after reading, recently I read this person's most famous book and loved it. So I decided to give this one a shot, and that is Women of the Silk by Gail Tsukiyama. About a couple days ago, I read The Samurai's Garden, and I absolutely loved it. And I've heard not as fantastic things about this, but at the same time, I've heard just really good things I've also heard some pretty good things about this book. It's just that Kate over at Kate File, who I usually really trust, said she did not really like this book. But there's some books where we definitely deviate on, so maybe I'll end up loving this. So Women of the Silk by Gail Tsukiyama is my first book for 2017's BookTubeAthon. Number 2, read a hyped book. Now, I know she was mainly referring to hyped books on BookTube, but the majority of the books that I read that are hyped on BookTube currently are not in my field of range, and the one that I did read that was hyped, and the one I was interested in, which was The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas, I already read that, so I'm going to choose a book that's just hyped overall, and it's a non-fiction book. I'm really getting into a non-fiction mode right now, and I'm just wanting to satisfy that with The Hot Zone by Richard Preston, I think is this guy's name. Yeah. This is the terrifying true story of Ebola. This is about how Ebola is going to attack America, and this sounds like a blast. And I know that sounds horrible because it's about one of the most deadly diseases in the current world. But Ebola, this sounds so fascinating. I've heard it's extremely well written, so why not give it a shot? It's praised out of the wazoo, so yeah, Hot Zone. Now this is one I did not do, finish a book in one day, and I realized that I would most likely finish these 2 in one day. This one looks longer than it actually is, and the text is pretty ginormous, so those 2 I already used up, and I'm like, oh no. So I just decided to throw in a book that I literally bought yesterday, and I was so excited to get this yesterday, and it's probably going to be it's the most ambitious book on my TBR. It's not only just a longer book, it's a really dense book as well, from what I've heard. And that is Fernando Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet. I've heard the most excellent of things about this book from the few things I've heard about it. This book was published 63 years after this guy died. This book was written in the 30s, and it was not released until 1998, from what I know of it. And it didn't even get published in English until like 2001, is what it says on the back. But or in the cover. But this is just supposed to be one of those like classic books that's kind of not extremely experimental with its language, which I'm kind of hoping for. But it's supposed to be also very it's supposed to be very literary, and I don't know how else to describe it. But if you know literary fiction or like this kind of like Kafka, Joyce type of language, then this would be it. Just minus Joyce's lexicon and the bizarreness of a. No, I've heard this book is kind of bizarre, but not like Kafka type of bizarre. So, Fernando Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet. I really can't wait for this. Alright, number 4. Read about a character that is very different from you. Now, this is just a rough estimate, because I read on the back, and I think the main character of this series is from Afghanistan. But it's A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. Like, over a year ago, I read The Kite Runner and really loved it. And I bought this book right after, and I have absolutely no reason why I haven't picked this up yet. It's like about 400 pages, but the text, yet again, is absolutely ginormous, so I can easily get through this. But I've just heard really good things about this. I've heard it's just as good as The Kite Runner. His third book is when people start differentiating on its quality, but I've heard this one is just as good as The Kite Runner, so why not read it? Alright, this one I kind of deviated as well, which is number 5, finish a book completely outdoors. I have never read, out in, I don't have, a porch where I can just sit out and read, and the one chair, in the backyard of my house, we just, the chairs are very ratty, and we're trying to get them replaced, but that's not going to be for a while, so there's really no point in reading outside. So what I did instead was pick a book that I think would mainly be set entirely outdoors, and that is A Bend in the River by V.S. Naipaul. I know there's probably some people that have read this and say, Graham, it's not set in the outdoors at all, but this is that's just my rough estimate. It's about going through it's going through Africa, and it sounds really good, but at the same time, it sounds like something that'd be more of an outdoorsy read in terms of its setting. So that's where I took it with this question. With this challenge. What am I talking about? Question. I took it with books that are set mainly outdoors. So that's what I did. So yeah. Number 6. Read a book because you read a book you bought because of the cover. And this one I've also heard really good things about, but mainly the reason that I just got it was because of its cover. And I don't normally buy because of their cover, but this one was just so beautiful that I'm like, hey, I've heard of this book, but the cover's just so gorgeous, I'll buy it. And that's Major Pettigrew's Last Stand by Helen Simpson, or however you pronounce her name. I've heard really good things about this book. Oh, the text is actually bigger than I thought it was going to be. Oh, that's good. Oh, but its page count is even longer than I thought it was going to be. It's 350 pages. I have an ambitious TBR. Major Pettigrew's Last Stand is about a marriage, I'm thinking, in the English countryside. And I've heard really good things about it. I've heard iffy things about her second novel. But this one I've heard, for the most part, really good things about. So, why not read it? And then the final book is just kind of the miscellaneous one of the group. And this is the challenge that she always has. Number 7, read 7 books. And my miscellaneous choice is Cold Mountain by Charles Frazier. I've heard the most wonderful things about this book. And I've also heard the movie's pretty good, so that if I ever have any interest, if I ever get into film, there we go. But this is about a soldier who's trying to return home to his wife, and during the Civil War, and it's supposed to be absolutely phenomenal. It's supposed to be really deep. Ooh, Kay Gibbons blurbed this. I really like Kay Gibbons. I'm getting distracted. But Cold Mountain by Charles Frazier is supposed to be fantastic. So, anyway, I have nothing really else to say because I don't really know a lot about the book, but I know like the basic premise of it. So yeah, why not read it? So that was the video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below what you guys thought of the video, and this is also where I'm also going to be participating in hopefully trying to win the contest that Ariel is putting up with Penguin platform. So that I'd be stoked if I won, but I don't think I'm gonna win. But why not try it out? So anyway, this is my TBR pile for BookTubeAthon, which I'm extremely excited about. But anyway, guys, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.